Hello, ladies, and thank you so much for your interest in the Maroon Mystique Color Guard here at Morehouse College via Spelman College. Today, we want to talk about how to actually make a flag. Due to the COVID-19, we did have to move to a virtual tryout this year, audition process. So some of you all may not have access to a flag. If you do have access to a flag, maybe it be from your high school or you used to do Colorguard Flag in high school, that is great. Go ahead and use that. And if not, then I want you to tune into this video so we can make sure that you have a great opportunity to try out for the Maroon Mystique Color Guard. So today we're going to talk about the materials and the assembly that's needed for making a Color Guard flag. So the materials that we're going to talk about today is what do you need for your pole, what type of fabrics can you use, what kind of adhesives can you use, and electrical tape. So here is a chart of the dimensions of what your silt, which is the fabric for the actual flag, is called. What your silt dimension should be for the length of the different types of poles. So we know that some people don't have access to everything, whether you can't get out the house because of the pandemic we're in, or etc. So here are some examples. But if you Google, if you don't have at least a 5-inch and you want to use a broomstick or a mop, which is a little less than 5 feet, then you want to Google what the dimensions of that flag would be. But here are some good examples of what it is. Typically, we twirl 5 feet, 5.5, and 6 feet poles. So we're going to talk about in this video, if you were to use a 6-foot pole, what do you need? So the materials for the pole, like I said, is that we recommend between 5 feet and 6 feet for your learning to twirl, which is 60 inches to 72 inches. Now the width, because we want it to be able to hold and have a good grip, make that no more than 1 inch. 1 inch is great. If it's 3/4, that's good as well. Don't go any less than 1/2 of an inch for your diameter of the pole. So the first example that we have is the PVC piping that you can get from Home Depot, Lowe's, or any hardware store that might be in your home city. So what I have here is an example from Home Depot. And so Home Depot has 2 different types of PVC piping. They have small poles and they have large poles. The large poles, unfortunately, they will not cut for you, so you can get a 3/4 inch pole, but it's going to be 10 foot. And if you have access to a saw or something, etc., that you can cut it into a 5-foot or a 6-foot pole, that's great. If not, then we suggest that you get 3 of the 2 feet poles that they have. So here's an example of that and what that looks like. So you can show this to somebody at Home Depot if you choose to. If you see, it's only $1.60, so you only need 3 of these, which is about $4. And then you need 2 connectors so that you can connect the 3 poles to make 1 long pole. So in total, you're only going to spend maybe at the most $6 at Home Depot to get this example of a pole. Now another type of pole that you could use is a shower pole. Now with the shower pole, make sure that it's not too thin. Again, going back to, we want it to be at least around 1 inch in diameter, no less than 1/2 inch of diameter. So here's an example from Walmart of a mainstay 48 inch to 84 inches. Remember that we would like you to try to twirl between a 5-foot and a 6-foot pole, but if you having difficulties with that, we can make some adjustments. But here's an example for Walmart, which is $9.88, and you want to make sure that it's an adjustable pole so that you can get it to that 60 inch or that 72 inches that we're asking for. Now your fabrics, Walmart does have pre-cut fabrics that will work. We tested them out. The dimensions are a little bit slightly off than what we would have preferred based on that video that we showed you, but this definitely will work. And as you can see, it's only $2.97, $3. So this is a 36 inch by 44 inch piece of fabric, and this definitely will work. Or you can go to another store and just buy a piece of fabric, whether it be Michael's, Amazon, Joann, Hobby Lobby. But please make sure that you get the correct measurements, or as close to those measurements that we showed you in the beginning of the video as possible. The adhesive, you're going to need something to create a pocket for the pole to slide in the fabric. So there are a couple of different ways that you can do this. You could use a glue gun if you have that at home. You could use stitch witchery, which allows you to iron a seam together, or you can use some type of fabric adhesive. You can use anything that can be adhesive for fabric, so anything that you can think of. And actually in the examples, you'll actually see that I actually use staples. I don't know how secure they are, but that is a possible way to do your fold for your pocket for the pole. So you can use a glue gun, stitch witchery, or fabric adhesive. Any type that goes with fabric will work. And you need some type of tape. The best one that we typically use for Colorguard is electrical tape, which you can get no more than $3. I believe at Home Depot it might be $1.50. But you don't have to use that if you don't have access to it. Something so that you can bind the silt to the actual pole. Something to be able to use that with. But we suggest electrical tape. So in your assembly, what you're going to do is you're going to lay your fabric flat out. And what you're going to do is, as you can see to the left of the picture, is you're going to fold over in order to make a pocket for the pole to slide in. Now, this fold should be, depending on the size of your pole, no more than an inch. Now, you do want to test the pole before you decide to seal it and make sure that it can slide through, because you don't want to make it too small and you don't also want to make it too big. You want to have a nice fit. So if you're using the PVC piping, as I showed you earlier, that is 3/4 of a diameter. So a 1-inch fold would work for that. It wouldn't be too big, it wouldn't be too small, it'll fit just nicely. Okay, so as you can see to the left, what we did was we folded over the edge of the longest piece of the fabric in order to create a pocket for the pole to slide in. And this is an example of the pre-cut fabric from Walmart. Then what you're going to use once you've tested to make sure that you can slide your pole in is you're going to use whatever type of adhesive that you have in order to seal that pocket, so it becomes a pocket that you can slide in. So you're going to seal the edge of the fold onto the fabric. And it's just the hem, because you have to be able to make sure that you can slide the pole through the pocket. So you don't want to glue it or adhesive it so that it is closed and you can't slide anything through. Step 3 is that you then want to go ahead and slide your pole through the pocket, as you can see in the picture. Now again, I did say that for this demonstration I did use staples. By the end, some of them did pop out, so it might not be the best method of sealing your pockets, but it is an option, and you can just kind of play with it as you move through the auditions to see if that's going to work or be suitable for you. But as you can see, because we did our adhesive and we created our pocket, we're now able to slide our pole into the fabric. Step 4 is now you want to seal the fabric onto the pole, and this is where our tape, we are using electrical tape, comes into play. So what you want to do is you want to start at the end of the fabric on the pole and the fabric, so the fabric does not move while it's on the pole, and you want to begin to wrap the silk. And you want to wrap it in a downward motion so that you have some of the pole and some of the fabric, making sure that it is not moving. So the purpose of doing this is so that the fabric will not move on the pole. So you want to wrap this about 6 or 7 times around the pole and make sure that the tape is tight and in place, because we don't want it to be moving when you start to do your flag basics and your flag movements, so that your pole falls apart. Step 6 is that you want to repeat what you did at the bottom to the top of the pole. Now, as you can see, before you tape the top of the pole, you want to make sure that your fabric is straight and tight on the actual pole. You don't want any lumps, any gaps when you're doing this. So as you can see, it's nice and straight. There is a little lump, but that's from the connector on the pole. So you want to make sure that it's straight and tight so that there is no lumps, no gaps, no bumps in your fabric as you begin to tape. Step 7 is that you just want to make sure that you double check your assembly. So what you want to make sure, like I said on the last slide, is that there are no bumps, no lumps or gaps when you tape, as you tape your flag, as well as you want to make sure that your pole is not crooked. So as you can see in the picture, when I hold the pole up, where I tape the fabric, it falls nicely in a straight line. So you want to tape the fabric in a straight line. You don't want it to be crooked, because that could affect your movements when you start learning your flag basics. So you want to make sure that when you hold out your pole, it looks just as mine is that there's no lumps, no bumps, no gaps, and that it falls straight and not crooked. If it's crooked, that's okay. Undo your tape, fix it, and try it again. Then do step 7 again, hold it up, make sure that it falls straight, because you want to make sure that your pole is assembled correctly before you start to do any flag motions. And that's it, you all. You're all set. So if you have any questions or need any more assistance, please feel free to email us at maroonmystique@gmail.com, and myself, Coach Mo, or Coach Bree will be happy to assist you in whatever it is that you need. We thank you so much for your interest in Maroon Mystique, and we wish you the best of luck during this audition process. Thanks, and have a great one.